Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalapa Girivardhari Gopi Janavalapa Girivardhari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So tonight we will be reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We'll be reading from text 6 of the 4th chapter, which is entitled Transcendental Knowledge. Ajopi san avyayatma Bhutanam ishvaropi san Prakritim swam adhishtaya Sambhavami yatmamayaya Ajopi san avyayatma Bhutanam ishvaropi san Prakritim swam adhishtaya Sambhavam yatmamayaya Jopi san avyayatma Bhutanam ishvaropi san Prakritim swam adhishtaya Sambhavam yatmamayaya. Like to chant. Jopi san avyayatma Bhutanam ishvaropi san Prakritim samadhishtaya Sambhavam yatmamayaya. Would you like to chant, Jamal? Okay, so translation. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, by my material energy, by my internal energy, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Purport. The Lord has spoken about the peculiarity of his birth. Although he may appear like an ordinary person, he remembers everything of his many, many past births. Whereas a common man cannot remember what he has done even a few hours before. Talk about bad memory, huh? If someone is asked what he did exactly at the same time one day earlier, it would be very difficult for a common man to answer immediately. He would surely have to dredge his memory to recall what he has done exactly at the same time one day before. And yet, men often dare claim to be God or Krishna. One should not be misled by such meaningless claims. Then again, the Lord explained his prakriti, or his form. Prakriti means nature, as well as sarup, or one's own form. The Lord says that he appears in his own body. He does not change his body as the common living entity changes from one body to another. The conditioned soul may have one kind of body in the present birth, but he has a different body in the next birth. In the material world, the living entity has no fixed body, but transmigrates from one body to another. The Lord, however, does not do so. Whenever he appears, he does so in the same original body by his internal potency. In other words, Krishna appears in this material world in his original eternal form, with two hands holding a flute. He appears exactly in his eternal body, uncontaminated by this material world. Although he appears in the same transcendental body and is the Lord of the universe, it still appears that he takes his birth like an ordinary living entity. And although his body does not deteriorate like a material body, it still appears that Lord Krishna grows from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth. But astonishingly enough, he never ages beyond youth. At the time of the battle of Kurukshetra, he had many grandchildren at home. Or in other words, he had sufficiently aged by material calculations. Still, he looked just like a young man, 20 or 25 years old. We never see a picture of Krishna in old age, because he never grows old like us, although he is the oldest person in the whole creation, past, present, and future. Neither his body nor his intelligence ever deteriorates or changes. Therefore, it is clear that in spite of his being in the material world, he is the same unborn, eternal form of bliss and knowledge, changeless in his transcendental body and intelligence. Factually, his appearance and disappearance are like the sun's rising, moving before us, and then disappearing from our eyesight. When the sun is out of sight, we think that the sun is set, and when the sun is before our eyes, we think that the sun is on the horizon. Actually, the sun is always in its fixed position, but owing to our defective, insufficient senses, we calculate the appearance and disappearance of the sun in the sky. And because Lord Krishna's appearance and disappearance are completely different from that of an ordinary, common living entity, it is evident that he is eternal, blissful knowledge by his internal potency, and he is never contaminated by material nature. The Vedas also confirm that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is unborn, yet he still appears to take his birth in multi-manifestations. The Vedic supplementary literatures also confirm that even though the Lord appears to be taking his birth, he is still without change of body. In the Bhagavatam, he appears before his mother as Narayan, with 4 hands and the decorations of the 6 kinds of full opulences. His appearance in his original eternal form is his causeless mercy, bestowed upon the living entities so that they can concentrate on the Supreme as he is, and not on mental concoctions or imaginations, which then personalists wrongly thinks the Lord's form to be. The word Maya, or Atma Maya, refers to the Lord's causeless mercy, according to the Vishwakosh dictionary. Period. The Lord is conscious of all of his previous appearances and disappearances, but a common living entity forgets everything about his past body as soon as he gets another body. He is the Lord. Period. He is the Lord of all living entities because he performs wonderful and superhuman activities while he is on this earth. Therefore, the Lord is always the same absolute truth and is without differentiation between his form and self, or between his quality and body. A question may now be raised as to why the Lord appears and disappears in this world. This is explained in the next verse. Om Gyanatipadandasya Gyananjanashlakaya Chakshulanmaditam Nena Tasma Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Kridavachalam Pangamalaigayate Yakripatamaham Vande Shri Gurundaditanam Vancha Gabhirvishcha Kripa Sindhu Bebcha Patitanam Bhavane Bhyo Vaishnavi Bhyo Namanamaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'll read the translation again. Although I am unborn, Krishna speaking, although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, by my internal energy I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Yeah, so obviously there's not a lot of personalities in the audience, and we announced that the class will be broadcasted online. So for those of you who are watching online, you can ask questions via, what's the venue? Okay, so you could send your questions. You could send your questions or comments on the comment section, chat section of the video of the broadcasting. Type your question there or comment. Yes, So within the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, if you want to know about Krishna, you could read the Bhagavad Gita in the sense that Krishna explains a lot about himself, why he comes, who he is. Of course, there's more details also within the Srimad Bhagavatam, specifically the 10th canto, which Srila Prabhupada wrote a summary study of the 10th canto of the Krishna book. But here, within the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, there's some verses like the verse we read just now, and Krishna is explaining some aspects of his personality. Sri Bhagavan Vacha. So Krishna is speaking, which Sri Bhagavan Vacha means the personality of God. It said. So this particular verse we just read, there's verse 5, verse 6, verse 7, verse 8, and Krishna is explaining why he comes to this material world. And he also explains Yes. Oh, really? That's okay, because we're just going to save them for the end, right? Questions for the end. Okay, so one of our tech men are saying that there is a 2-minute delay between their typing and our receiving the comment or question. So it's not that we're voiding your... Okay. So, Krishna explains why he is appearing within this material world. And he also explains, if somebody understands this, what is the result of understanding why he comes? Specifically, what's the result of someone understanding his birth and activities and truth in this material world? And that's in the 9th verse, Janma Karma Chame Divyam. They go back to the spiritual world. So in this particular verse that we just read, 6, Krishna is saying that he has a transcendental body that never deteriorates. So you can imagine that, huh? Having a body that never deteriorates. Just keeps on going. So that's Krishna's body, keeps on existing. And he says he's the Lord of all living entities. And he says, by my internal energy, I appear in every millennium in my transcendental form. So Krishna is coming again and again. So Krishna has come just over around 5,000 years ago to this material world. And Krishna also, within these verses and purports that I was talking about, 5, 6, 7, 8, Krishna, or Srila Prabhupada explains in the purports that sometimes he sends his representatives also, his bona fide, authentic representatives, spiritual masters, devotees, to help Krishna in his business of bringing the conditioned souls back to the spiritual world. So these personalities, Krishna and devotees, they come to this material world and then they go. They leave, just like everybody else. Right? They're here and then they're gone. But they come, specifically those coming from the spiritual world, Krishna definitely, and anyone coming from the spiritual world, they come for a different purpose than the conditioned souls. They specifically come to spread Krishna consciousness, to give Krishna consciousness to others. Whereas Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy says that, our philosophy says that conditioned souls come to the material world not for Krishna conscious purposes, to forget Krishna, to forget God. But again, how it's saying here, Krishna is a person. He has a transcendental form. So, out of practically all the world religions, Vaishnavism is not just personalism, but it's super personalism. It means it's very personal. That we don't say God's a person. Well, we do say we just don't say God's a person, but we say God is a supreme person. We don't just say God's the supreme person, but we have the supreme details of the supreme personality of Godhead. It's, if you really analyze any world tradition, the details the details they have of God, in many cases, aren't much. Whereas in Vaishnavism, there's a lot of details. I mean, you want to know the color of Krishna's eyes, it's there. It's not that it's like some hidden mystery or something. It's not that what to speak of God doesn't have eyes. He has eyes, and it says a specific color. You want to know? You have to pay me some money then. I'm just joking. The colors of eye, Krishna, Trivita Prabhu sent me an email because I was asking about the color of Krishna's eyes, because we see deities throughout the world. We're also going to be talking about deities. We're getting there, but we see deities throughout the world, deity worship. Like we have our Archamurti form of Krishna. And, of course, Krishna has eyes there. It's not that he doesn't have eyes. He has eyes, right? Eyebrows. So, anyways. And those eyes on all the deities throughout the world, they have color. It's not that they don't have color. They have color. So, which color's right? Anyway, so we don't have to get into it, because some devotees, the deities have different colored eyes throughout the world, actually. But anyways, in this particular email that Dravida Prabhu sent me, he said that the eyes are, I believe Srimati Radharani and Krishna's are of a bluish color. Yeah. And he says something, some type of gem he refers to, what, sapphire or whatever, but some type of, says bluish. So yeah, that's there. Or maybe maybe in this email he's saying that he's referring Krishna, the color of Krishna's eyes, to like a particular type of flower. Anyways, I could send it to you. So yeah, I mean, it really gets into the details of Krishna. You know, the different types of flutes Krishna plays, how Krishna dresses, right? It's not just kind of like some speculation. Oh, well, you know, he dresses like this, or he dresses like that, you know, wears Levi's, or, you know, of course he doesn't wear Levi's, but he dresses like this, dresses like that. There's different, but there's none of it's just, no, this is how he dresses. And this is who dresses him. It gets into a lot of details. So yeah, so Krishna's a person. And different personalities throughout history have wrote about Krishna. So many books, right? Are spiritual authorities, acharyas. Does anyone know the definition of authority? Somebody who keeps, yeah. Or maybe what do you call that? Breaking down the words, you know. Etymology of the word authority. It's, I hope it's positive like I'm thinking it is. Because, you know, sometimes authority, it's like, oh, authority figure, that's a person who kind of like, they truncate your you know, your individuality, they truncate your expressions, you know, like the boss at work, always trying to, like, you know, breathing down your neck, trying to give you a hard time about stuff, right?
And this basic etymology from Google is saying originator comes from a Latin word meaning like originator, promoter, like from the original source.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is.
Okay. Well, one particular... Okay. One particular devotee connected to the original source authority, which, yeah, I mean, right, we have the authority of the parampara, the disciplic succession. Authority is connected to the original source, Krishna. Not impersonal source, but the cause of all causes, Krishna. But one devotee said, and I don't know where I got it from, but it sounded good. He said that authority means somebody who brings people up, encourages people to rise to a higher level. And by definition, if any, you expect a spiritual authority to do that. So anyways, a lot of our authorities, spiritual authorities, Jai, Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Giridhari ki Jai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra ki Jai.
Actually, the two main words I was getting in the etymology was, one was originator, the other one was promoter, which sounds like more like the second part you were talking about, promoter.
Promoter, yeah.
Yeah.
They give you promotions. So one of our spiritual authorities, Srila Rupa Goswami, which he is very important within our tradition. One of the most important personalities within our tradition. Of course, there's so many, they're all important in their own ways. But we're known we are known, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas are known as Rupa Nugas, which means followers of Srila Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami, yes, 500 years ago around, he was here on this planet. So there was many devotees who came after him, but yeah, we're known as Rupa Nugas, followers of Rupa Goswami. Everyone's accepting Rupa Goswami as the one who understood Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fully. And he compiled many books. So one of the books, Nectar of Devotion, which is called The Science of Devotion, or The Complete Science of Bhakti Yoga. So in that book, he says there's, which many of you I'm sure have heard many times, but if it's important, you have to keep on repeating it. It says there's 5 most potent forms of devotional service. So one is residing in a holy place, which there's so many holy places in India, right, where Krishna appeared, where his devotees appeared, where the devotees are living. And if you can't live there, you could live in a temple, which is a holy place, which means we have to keep the atmosphere sanctified, right, by Krishna consciousness. And or you could make your temple into a holy place, right? Make your house into a holy place by saturating it with Krishna consciousness, by hearing and chanting about Krishna. So living in a holy place, chanting the holy names, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, spiritual books, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. What's the other one? Chanting, holy place, Bhagavatam, Deity Worship, and they're the 5 most potent forms of devotion. Yes, associating with devotees. Shh. No, I'm just joking. Yes, associating with devotees, yes. So, now we know this. It's there, don't worry. We're not forgetting. So, associating with devotees, chanting the holy names, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, residing in a holy place, in deity worship. So these are the 5 most potent forms of devotional service. And all of these forms of devotional service, they are even more powerful, most powerful, in the association of devotees. They have to be done in the association of devotees, ideally. And it says that even a slight attachment to any one of these five forms of devotional service can awaken love of God, love of Krishna, even in a neophyte, a beginner. So, yeah, these 5 forms are very important, most potent. Now, specifically in relation to deity worship, someone may wonder that, okay, well, why is it deity worship? Why is it deity worship? Because deity worship is a process for a previous age, for one of the, long time ago. Why? Because they were able to get all types of nice gold and rubies and wonderful decorations like that, and they would decorate the deities, the forms of Krishna. And it was just the process of the age for self-realization. Now, the process for this age is different. It's not deity worship. It is chanting the holy names of Krishna. That is the process, right? Yagya Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Sumedha. So the very intelligent persons, it says in the Bhagavatam, the 11th canto, they'll worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by engaging in the Sankirtan movement, chanting the holy names. So why are we engaging in it? Well, although it's not the process for this age, it's still powerful, it's still potent. So, and it's recommended by our authorities, Srila Rupa Goswami and so on, as an important form of devotional service. In other words, it still has power. Now, another thing people wonder is that, okay, well, also, also it says that, anyways, I don't think we need to get into that. You want to get into it, what I'm thinking of? All right. It's just a small point, but I wasn't planning on really getting into that. But it says in the 11th canto that there's different descriptions of devotees. There's the Kanishta-adhikari, the Madhyama-adhikari, and the Uttama-adhikari. So the Kanishta-adhikari is said a materialistic devotee, and then the Madhyama-adhikari is like in the middle ground. Uttama-adhikari is the highest devotee. So Uttama-adhikari is said to see Krishna everywhere. And he sees everybody, or she sees everybody as a devotee besides himself. So in other words, it's just they're completely in love with Krishna. They can't see anything but Krishna everywhere. And then the Madhyama is one who sees Krishna and gives all of his love and affection, service to Krishna. They see the devotee. They try to develop friendship with the devotees. They try to give Krishna consciousness to the innocent by giving them transcendental knowledge, and they avoid the envious. Oh, okay. What, like looking here?
Well, like I did a boxing class, like I noticed I always found myself in the class, and it kind of hurts more from standing with the left side.
Oh, okay, I see.
Balance out your neck.
Okay, thank you. So, Mukunda Charna said he's trying to balance out my neck turning, so not everybody's on the left side, so I'm not just looking this way, so I'm get a nice movement of my neck. So, all right, thank you very much. Appreciate that, Jai. Thank you for caring for my... they avoid the envious. And they avoid the envious because by trying to help the envious, they become more envious. In other words, become more offensive. I've had that experience before. Like one time, as a little example, but I was up in southern Oregon with my father. I was visiting him, and my grandfather, his father, was visiting from Seattle. And I was a new, like, few months in the temple, or maybe within the year, and I would visit my father every summer for about 2 months, or maybe a month. So a long time. Devotees thought I wouldn't come back. It's like, man, this guy's been gone for a month. He probably won't come back, huh? Well, I would do that when I first joined the temple. Actually, for years growing up, when I was a teenager, I would always go up there for 2 months every summer. And then when I joined the temple, I would also do that for a month. I would be up there. It was before I was, I had more of the services, which require me absolutely to be here. And anyways, I was there, and my grandfather was there, and I had this book, very important book, and it was the Nectarian Glories of the Holy Name by Shubhananda Das or whatever. And it had all these wonderful quotes from Prabhupada's books, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, these, great quotes. The glories of the holy name were fully propounded, fully, but largely propounded in this book, big book. So I had it, and new bhakta reading it, and it's like, yeah, let me share it with my, my grandfather. He'll really appreciate it, right? So there's the glories of the holy name, and he didn't appreciate it. So just don't share something with someone unnecessarily, especially if they're not going to appreciate it, or what to speak of start being offensive. So, therefore, one of the 10 offenses towards the holy name also is to propound the glories of the holy name to the faithless. So Madhyamadikari, and then Kanishadikari, it says one who sees Krishna in the temple, name of the deity, but they don't see Krishna anywhere else, and they do not know how to respect the devotees, and they don't know how to respect people in general. And therefore they don't try to give Krishna consciousness to others. They're very attached to the deity. So that's why I'm bringing this up, that, isn't deity worship, it's kind of like, for the Kanishtas or something? No, it's not. It's saying that Kanishta sees Krishna, but he doesn't see Krishna anywhere else. But that doesn't mean that the Madhyama or the Uttama Adhikari it's not that, they don't worship deities. They do worship deities. Srila Rupa Goswami, so many of our acharyas, they had deities. So many of them. For their personal deities. Govardhan Srila Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is a deity, gave Srila to Raghunath Das Goswami. So, yes, that's there. So, yes, it is not the process, but it is still potent. And it is not for neophytes, it's for everyone. Neophytes, Madhyama, advanced, it's for everyone. Deity worship, it is a form of devotional service. And regarding it not be the process, Prabhupada was once asked in Mayapur, because they were trying to compile a deity worship manual book, about what they should add within the book. And Prabhupada said, keep it simple. Deity worship isn't the process for this age, chanting the holy name is. So keep it simple. Although Prabhupada fully encouraged it, throughout the world, obviously by installing so many Radha Krishna deities throughout the world. So, yes. So, but this deity worship, it is very surprising for a Western audience. I don't know if anyone. I'm sure devotees think about it, but it is shocking actually. For some Westerner, John, Mr. John from SDSU, college student or whatever their names are, Mary, John, whatever their names are, to come here and they're writing their school, right, report, reporting what's going on here at the temple. For a lot of people, and also for those, because after all, America is a Christian-dominated country. Of course, it's becoming less and less like that. People are more like spiritual nowadays, not really attached to a particular religion, but just looking for a spiritual experience. But even them, or whoever it may be, to personalists, it's very shocking. Deity worship. Oh my God, you guys are, what's going on here? Because they don't accept God having a form. Very shocking. For Christians, very shocking. Whoa, Bibles, no idol worship. What's going on here? This is exactly what idol worship looks like to these people. Oh my God, what's happening? So it's quite shocking. Like there was a devotee, anyways, I'm not going to say his name, but he was a new guy on the block. Devotee coming in. He wasn't devotee at that time, so he came in and he saw everything going on here, and immediately his mind just went to this sections in the Bible where it's no deity worship or no idol worship. Immediately, all these people worshiping idols, and then his mind went to people chanting, chants, shouldn't do that, repetitive chants. It's and he just left. But eventually became a devotee over, coming here for prasadam or whatever he was coming for over time. Yeah, he got initiated. And there was another devotee with I'm just trying to remember and his experience with deity worship. Anyways, it's not coming to my mind right now. Idol worship, deity worship, and yeah. Oh yeah. There's a devotee here, and they were speaking to some Christian people who came to check out the temple and see what goes going on at the temple. They had a school project. So this devotee very innocently offered them prasadam, right? That's our thing. We offer people prasadam. But you know what prasadam means? Prasadam means food, patram pushpam palam tvayam, yome bhakti prachati. Food offered with love and devotion to Krishna. And within ISKCON temples throughout the whole world, that doesn't mean a picture of Krishna, generally. That means a deity of Krishna. It means a form, Archamurti of Krishna. So they told these these personalities, these people. Yeah, so, here's our prasadam, and they went into that explanation. What is prasadam and how we offer to the deity, and people, no, I can't have that. That's what they said, I can't have that. They rejected it. It was offered to idol, in their mind. So it's quite shocking to people. And of course, within India, it's not shocking. There's deities in every household, and practically in every street corner. There's temples everywhere. Demigod temples, Krishna temples, Ganesh temples, Kali temples, and all of them have deities. It's just very, 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 very common. Every city of India, every village of India. So many deities are there. I don't know how many deities are there. Probably thousands, millions, billions of deities. Billions of deities are in India. Ever thought about that? Billions. And you could think about it too, because how many people are in India? 1.3 billion people are in India. A lot of them are Hindus. And they have, it means they have deities. And a lot of the times, they may not just have one deity; they have many deities, right? Because they want to cover the grounds. So many deities. Yeah, in America, Mukunda says in America you have dogs, deities. So yeah, it's quite shocking. Now, when Prabhupada's godbrother from Germany, he went to India. He saw many deities, and he was wondering who was supreme. Kali, Ganesh, different deities. And then he saw Krishna. And Krishna was playing a flute, he's enjoying, right? Srimati Radharani playing. And then this godbrother of Prabhupada said, this must be God, because he's not working, he's enjoying. All the other deities, they have, swords and different things, they're like kind of... so that was his conclusion. He said, very intelligent. But there's a good reason why we have deities. And the reason being, as Srila Prabhupada said, first of all, Krishna appears. Ajopi san yavyatma bhutanam ashvaropi san prakritim swamadishtaya sambhavami yatma maya. He says, I appear in my transcendental form every millennium, right? My original transcendental form, not non-deteriorating. So first of all, he appears, but then he leaves. So therefore, deity worship is there, because we can't see Krishna. We can't see Krishna. And it's important to see Krishna. We get purified by seeing Krishna. We develop attachment to Krishna by seeing Krishna. Therefore, personalism makes sense, because you say, "Oh, well, you love God," like in the realm of religion, in the realm of spirituality, in the realm of God believers. Okay, we say you should love God. It's like, okay, fine. Well, who is he? Okay, you want to know who he is and what defines a person, or what defines a being generally? Not generally, all the time. Well, okay, well, what's his name? We say, oh, well, I don't know. Oh, well, where does he live? I'm not sure. And what does he look like? We're still trying to figure that out. Well, you have to know something about the person. Like if I was to say, okay, you develop a relationship with this person, but you don't have his name, you don't have his address, you don't have his phone. Well, how am I supposed to develop a relationship? So therefore, deity worship is important, pictures of Krishna is important, because we see Krishna, we get purified, we develop attachment to Krishna. Right? Rupa Goswami says that do not go to the bank of the Yamuna, Keshi Ghat. Why? Because you'll see Krishna there, threefold bending form of Krishna, playing his flute, peacock feather, very beautiful, attractive. And you will lose all of your material attachments to this, to that, to so many things if you go see Krishna. So don't go see Krishna there. So in other words, he's saying go see Krishna there, because you should lose your attachments. So therefore, deity worship is important. Prabhupada, quoting that verse of Rupa Goswami in the Act of Devotion, he relates that to deity worship. Going to Keshi Ghat, seeing Krishna on the Yamuna, on the river, on the bank of the Yamuna. So it's important, deity worship. So not only so we have Krishna appear, and then we have deity worship, how it's recommended, right? And now there's different types of deities of Krishna. We have Gaurnitai, we have Radhagiridhari, Radhakrishna, and we have Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, which for a non-believer, for a impersonalist, for a different other faiths, Jagannath is it's like bringing it to a whole nother dimension of not understanding, confusion for them. Who is this Jagannath? Because Krishna playing the flute, Gaurnitai. Okay, they look generally like we see persons, but Jagannath doesn't look like that. Big eyes, big smile, his arms, and his body, right? Have you ever seen anyone like Jagannath before? You don't see. So what's going on with Jagannath? So the idea with Jagannath is that there is a particular pastime in why Jagannath appears the way he does. So first, as we're discussing, Krishna appeared in this world, and then he was in Vrindavan, right? His childhood pastimes, Mother Yashoda, Krishna book fully describes. And then he grows up, he goes to Mathura, and then eventually goes to Dwarka. And in Dwarka, he's in a whole nother world practically, with his queens and different citizens of Dwarka. He's in a princely role there, not like a simple cowherd boy, he's a princely role. So then all the residents of Dwarka, they want to know about Vrindavan, Krishna's childhood. Right? Generally, sometimes you want to know about people's childhood. So they wanted to know about Krishna's childhood. And specifically in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, one book by Sanatana Goswami, very important book, 3-volume book. BBT published it, one translation and commentary. But it says that in the middle of the night, Krishna would be resting. He'd be sleeping in the middle of the night, and he'd be speaking in his sleep, and he would say different things. He would say, Radhe Radhe Srimati Radharani, or he would say Gopi Gopi. He would say different names of cowherd boys, different names and things which would be relating to Vrindavan. And then all the residents were thinking, why, who are the Gopi, who are the cowherd boys? And they wanted to know, right? It was very curious, who are these personalities? Because they didn't know. Dwarka, again, it was a whole other world. They didn't know about Vrindavan. It's not like, they weren't getting any news from Vrindavan. A whole other world. So one particular day, this is in Gaur Govinda Swami's book, Embankment of Separation. One particular day, Mother Rohini, the mother of Balaram, was telling the devotees of Dwarka the glories of Vrindavan. But specifically, she said, do not let Krishna, do not let Balaram, do not let Subhadra, Balaram, Krishna's brother, Subhadra's sister, do not let them enter into this assembly. Because if they enter the assembly, it's too much. It's kind of like a distorted reflection of post-traumatic, what is it? Yeah, PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. Somebody hears about something. What is it? Post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD. Yes, post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD. And it's a distorted reflection of that. If somebody hears about something that was, they're in a war or something, or some very dramatic or terrible thing happened in their life, and they hear about it, then they might cause them to lose it. Go to the hospital, have flashbacks, breakdown, just really go into anxiety. So it's you could say distorted reflection of that, and that PTSD is that. In the pure state, Krishna would go into a spiritually surcharged state of separation from the devotees of Vrindavan. So he said, don't go, don't let him come in. So somehow or other, Krishna came in with Balaram and Subhadra, and then that's exactly what happened. They went into this, surcharged state of spiritual transcendental emotion, found separation from Vrindavan, and then what happened? Krishna's eyes got really big, big smile. I can't do that, sorry. So I can't do it. Big smile, and then his arms went into the body, right? Balaram, same. Subhadra, same. And therefore, if you closely, even if you don't closely look, even if you, you could see Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra like that. They look like that. You don't have to closely look. So that's the idea, why they're like that. And then Narada Muni, a great, traveling, probably call him transcendental spaceman. He travels all over 3 worlds, and he came and he saw, he always comes at the right times, right? He came and he saw Krishna like this, and Balaram Subhadra, and he said, oh, please, Lord, I wish that this form of yours is seen throughout the worlds. So Krishna said, okay, fine. And then therefore we have Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra throughout the world. And of course, there's another aspect of the pastime why he appears like that with King Indrayumna, but it's a long pastime, and we're not going to get into that right now. There's a few other ones explaining why. So the particular day today, why I'm bringing this up, Lord Jagannath, is because if things were not as they are now throughout the world, we would be celebrating Snan Yatra today. There'd be a big temple room here full of devotees, and His Holiness Giriraj Swami would be here. He'd be giving the talk on Snan Yatra, and all the devotees in the temple room, they'd be bathing Lord Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra with all different types of nice juices, substances, and taking that as Charnamrita. But because of this world situation, we're not doing that. Anyways, so I thought we'd just at least talk about Jagannath. But we are going to do it. It is rescheduled for, some months from now, September, something like that. And then we'll have our Rath Yatra and Earth Day, Balboa Park. So there's many pastimes with Jagannath and many different festivals. Snan Yatra is one of them, in which the bathing, which is a very merciful festival. I mean, generally to get close to a deity, you have to be second initiated. Means you have to have taken vows, you have to so on, be spiritually advanced, right? To at least some degree before you get close to a deity. But here, everybody gets close. Everybody. It's not like, hey man, we check at the door. Hey, are you a vegetarian? And the guy says, no. Okay, well, hey buddy, get lost. You're not bathing Jagannath today. No, everybody, if provided that they are so fortunate to do that, if they want to. Doesn't matter their qualification. So it's a very merciful very merciful festival. And then, of course, we have Rath Yatra, which is a big topic in itself. Mahaprabhu would celebrate that yearly. We celebrate in Los Angeles yearly and throughout the world. Srila Prabhupada introduced that throughout the world, and as a young boy, he would celebrate that in Kolkata. But one particular, the last thing in relation to Jagannath that I would like to mention is that there was one devotee in the Chaitanya Charitamrita named Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And this devotee is in Chaitanya Leela, Chaitanya's pastimes. And you know who he was in Krishna Leela? Anybody remember? Nobody remember? Okay, nobody remembers? All right, at least within this room. Okay, so I'm going to tell you now. And then you could remember. Okay? We'll quiz you next time. You have to remember this. Pundarik Vidyanidhi, very important personality within Chaitanya Leela. There's a few pastimes, very unique pastimes of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu really had a lot of affection for him. Of course, he had affection for everybody, but he would call him Father. refer to him as his father. So Pundarik Vidyanidhi is Srimati Radharani's father in the spiritual world, King Vrishabhanu. Anyways, I won't get into one unique pastime of that, but there is one pastime we will mention of Pundarik Vidyanidhi is that Pundarik Vidyanidhi, although he's a pure devotee, and of course these are pastimes, one time he went to the Jagannath temple in Puri, and there's a particular festival when winter starts. It's called Odana Shashti, which Odana Shashti means Jagannath is offered a nice new outfit, which is warmer, warmer cloth, because it's getting colder. So that festival happened, and the particular tradition, or the particular festival or traditional thing that the pujaris would do, celebrating this festival, of course, offer that cloth, but they would offer starch cloth to the deities, which starch cloth means it's not washed first. It's made, but it's not washed. They're very starchy. Like if you get a dhoti, like cotton dhoti, if you don't wash it, it's very starchy. The sari is very starchy. So Pundarik Vidyanidhi saw this, and he was thinking to himself, why are they offering this to Jagannath? Why would they do that? It's impure. Scripture says it's impure. And then he mentioned to Gadadhar Pandit, when they were walking home together, why are the pujaris doing this? And then Gadadhar Pandit said, it's traditional, this is what they've been doing. But he was developing this critical attitude towards the pujaris for doing this, and the king of Puri. So then he went home, Pundarik Vidyanidhi went back to his place, and then he rested at night. So then he's resting, taking rest, and then all of a sudden he started having a dream. And in the dream, Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra appeared to him, and they started giving specifically it says Krishna and Balaram. They started giving him a hard time, chastising him, and saying, "Why are you being critical towards my pujaris for offering me starch cloth? Why are you being critical?" He said, "I actually like this, and you shouldn't be critical." And you know what Jagannath and Baladev started doing? He started, kind of like the, slapping his face, his cheek back, his face. And in the dream, so he's being chastised by Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. So then the next morning he woke up and his face was swollen here, his face was all swollen. And then he was embarrassed to go outside. He didn't want anybody to know. So he told God, I had this dream, and when he came by, and he said that Jagannath and Baladev, they were doing this, chastising him, hitting his face for 2 dandas. You know how long 2 dandas is? Yeah. You would know? Okay, I'll tell you. 48 minutes. For a long time. So yeah, that happened. And then it says Gadadhar Pandit and Pundarik Vidyanidhi were in ecstasy discussing Krishna after that. So there's many pastimes with Jagannath in which he does things like this, very unique, coming in people's dreams, even in our Mayapur. We have Jagannath there, Rajpur. So yeah, Jagannath is a very special form, a very merciful form. And Krishna, Jagannath, Lord of the universe. So on these days we could think about him, pray to him, glorify him, and meditate on his different pastimes. And there's different books we could get about Jagannath. Gaur Govinda Swami has some books, Mahanidhi Swami. So, all right, so I'll stop there. Does anybody have any questions?
So first, Paneshwari Mataji, she made a couple comments. She first said, Hare Krishna, Balaram Prabhu, missing the association of the devotees a lot. And then during that time when we were struggling to remember all 5 of the most potent, she chimed in and she said Deity Worship, Association of Devotees, before we answered that. And then she said, I like that, quote, we have the supreme details of the Supreme Person.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay.
And then we have a question from Brett.
All right, well, thank you very much, Praneshwari. Hare Krishna. Yeah.
And then we have a question from Brett Alters, who says, Haribol, gracias, Balaram, for the class. How do I let go of my attachment to Govinda's prasadam? Kidding. Can you speak more about parampara and how the first devotee found Krishna? Do we know?
So, attachment to Govinda's prasadam, huh? Okay, that's funny. Well, it's a good attachment. It's a good attachment. So, about parampara and who's the first to find Krishna? Yeah, we know who's the first. Brahma, Lord Brahma. In that Lord Brahma, within the Srimad Bhagavatam, it says he was meditating on the stem coming from Vishnu's navel, and then the lotus was there, and Brahma was there, the first created being, and then he heard tap pa, which means austerity. Which austerity means engage in a particular activity that may be difficult for good purposes, spiritual austerity. Like, for example, waking up early, or following principles, like those are austerities for spiritual advancement. So that's what Brahma started doing. He started meditating, and it said from that meditation, he became completely God-realized, self-realized. And it wasn't Vishnu-realized. It was, of course, we respect Vishnu, the form of Vishnu, but specifically, it was Krishna-realized. Govinda Maripusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord. Right? So any chance, the whole Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda, so many wonderful verses, and it goes into describing the spiritual world. Krishna. So from that meditation, he meets Krishna. And that's the beginning of our parampara. Lord Brahma, then Narada, then Vyas, and then so many different personalities. And then Srila Prabhupada.
We also have a comment from someone named Vidya. He says, Hare Krishna Prabhu, it's just a comment.
Okay.
He says, Hare Krishna Prabhu, makes sense who Pundarika Vidyanidhi is in Krishna's Leela, since he was Gadadhar Pandit's spiritual master in Gaura Leela.
Yes, he's Gadadhar spirit. Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's an interesting point. I never really thought about it. Thank you. Because Gadadhar Pandit is, Srimati Radharani. So, and Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Yeah, they were close. In Chaitanya Leela. So. Okay. All right, so any last questions or comments from anybody out there? Or from anybody in here? You have a comment or a question? Okay. All right. Okay, Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Brahmananda.